Welcome back to my channel. Today we explore the value of specific coins. The most valuable, Abraham Lincoln. Wheat penny, coin's value in market. First up, the 1947 wheat penny without a mint mark. Let's break down exactly what you can expect from this coin in today's market, even in damaged conditions, and why some examples might still carry collector interest. The first thing to know is that the 1947 penny without a mint mark was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Philadelphia produced over 190 million of these coins, which means they were very common when they were released and remain fairly easy to find today. Because of this high mintage, rarity is not what drives value for most 1947 wheat pennies. Instead, value comes from condition, color, and in rare cases, error varieties that make a coin stand out from the crowd. When it comes to condition, most 1947 wheat pennies floating around today fall into what collectors call circulated condition. That means they were used in everyday commerce, passed through hands for decades, and show heavy wear. A circulated example with moderate wear might only be worth around $120,000, depending on how clear the details are. If the coin is very worn, with almost no design left, the value will be on the lower end. Now let's talk about damaged coins, because that's what most people ask about. A coin is considered damaged if it shows things beyond normal circulation wear. This could be heavy corrosion from being in the ground, scratches from improper cleaning, bends or cracks, or other surface problems. Unfortunately, once a coin is damaged like this, collectors usually do not want it for their sets, and that lowers its value dramatically. A damaged 1947 wheat penny without a mint mark will generally trade for less than 30 cents, and many dealers will not even pay above face value unless there is something unique about it. To put it simply, damaged wheat pennies from common years are often kept more for sentimental value than for investment. On the other hand, if the coin managed to survive in mint state condition, never having been used in circulation, then the story changes completely. A bright red 1947 wheat penny, graded at MS65, could sell for around $20 to $30. Higher grade examples like MS67 can reach into the hundreds, and the finest examples have sold for more than $2,000 at auction. These coins are rare because most of the 1947 pennies were spent and worn down, leaving very few untouched survivors. But since this discussion is about damaged coins, it is important to stress that while collectors generally pass on them, there are a couple of exceptions. The first is error coins. If your 1947 penny has a noticeable minting error, like a double die, an off-center strike, or a clipped planche, then it can still hold significant value even if it is worn or damaged. Error collectors often prize the mistake itself more than the surface condition, so it is always worth checking carefully. The second exception is if you are putting together a basic wheat penny collection and simply need a filler coin. In that case, someone might buy a damaged example for a small premium over face value just to complete their set temporarily. So where does this leave us in terms of today's market? If you are holding a heavily worn or damaged 1947 wheat penny with no mint mark, its value is typically between 1 cent and 30 cents. If the coin is in average circulated condition without major problems, it could bring between 15 cents and $1. If you were lucky enough to have a higher grade uncirculated piece, the value ranges from $100,000 depending on the grade and eye appeal, and the top population coins with rich red color are the ones that break into the thousands. The lesson here is that condition is everything. A coin with sharp details, natural color, and minimal wear is far more desirable than one that has been bent, corroded, or harshly cleaned. Collectors pay strong premiums for quality, but coins that show damage rarely rise above pocket change value. That doesn't mean they are worthless, though. They can still serve as interesting conversation pieces, fun teaching tools for kids, or small keepsakes that connect us with history. After all, every wheat penny once circulated through a world very different from today, and holding one is like holding a little piece of the past. Next up, 1948. The United States Mint in Philadelphia struck over 317 million Lincoln wheat cents. So if you have a penny from that year without a mint mark, the typical 1948 wheat penny in dirty or worn condition is not considered rare. Collectors see them regularly in rolls, dealer bulk bins, and inherited coin jars. The design is the familiar Lincoln portrait on the front with the words, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date, and on the back the famous wheat ears that gave the coin its nickname. The composition is mostly copper with a little tin and zinc. If your coin is dirty, darkened, or heavily worn, Its value in today's market is only a few cents. Dealers and collectors usually pay around 2 to 5 cents for circulated examples of this date. Some price guides list values as high as 10 or 15 cents, but those figures often represent retail asking prices rather than what someone is willing to pay you in cash. In real-life transactions, the majority of worn 1948 no-mint-mark pennies move in the range of pocket change money. That means if you pull one from circulation or find one at the bottom of an old jar, the realistic expectation is a couple of cents, not a fortune. The situation changes when condition improves. Wheat cents are collected by date and mint, but also by grade and color. High-end coins graded by third-party services such as PCGS or NGC are where the serious money is. Collectors distinguish between brown, and red coins, with fully red, lustrous examples being most desirable. A 1948 penny preserved as if it just left the mint, with full original copper glow and virtually no marks, is rare and can sell for thousands. Recent auction records confirm this. In 2024, a PCGS certified MS-67 red example sold for over $50,000, and an even finer MS-67 Plus red piece realized more than $5,000 at heritage auctions. Those are the outliers, the tiny fraction of coins that were set aside untouched and survived 70-plus years in near-perfect condition. For everyday finds, though, that kind of outcome is unrealistic. Most coins that look dirty, dull, or worn are worth face value, or slightly more. The temptation for many beginners is to try cleaning the coin to make it look better, but that is a mistake. Collectors value originality, and cleaning can scratch the surface, strip away the natural patina, and dramatically lower what someone is willing to pay. A cleaned coin, even if it shines brightly, usually sells for less than an uncleaned piece with natural color. The safest approach is to leave the coin as you found it. Sometimes people wonder if there are errors or varieties for 1948 that could raise value even in worn condition. While certain doubled dies or minor anomalies are reported, none are widely recognized as major keys the way the 1955 doubled die is. That means a typical circulated 1948 Philadelphia penny, without any clear error, does not command a premium. If you think you see unusual doubling or striking flaws, comparing your coin to reliable reference images, and if promising, showing it to a knowledgeable dealer can help confirm if it has extra value. So what should you do with a dirty 1948 wheat penny? If you enjoy collecting, keep it as part of a date set, because every wheat cent has history and charm. If you are only interested in selling, expect to receive only a few cents. Dealers often buy them in bulk, paying roughly 2 or 3 cents each, sometimes a little more if they are filling inventory for beginning collectors. If your coin looks sharper than average with clear detail and some original shine, it might bring closer to a dime, or a little more in a collector-to-collector sale, but that is still modest. The real jump happens only when coins grade extremely high. The story of the 1948 penny without a mint mark is a good example of how condition and rarity work together in coin collecting. A common date with high mintage in worn condition is plentiful and inexpensive, but a top-quality survivor from the same issue becomes scarce and valuable. For most people finding a dirty, circulated piece, the value is sentimental or educational rather than financial. It shows what coins looked like 3/4 of a century ago, it connects to post-war American history, and it sparks an interest in the wider series of Lincoln cents. To summarize in plain terms, a 1948 wheat penny with no mint mark that is dirty and circulated usually sells for about 2 to 5 cents. It is not rare and not worth much money. If by chance you own a coin that looks fresh from the mint, never cleaned, bright red in color and free of marks, then professional certification could reveal a coin worth hundreds or even thousands. Next up, the 1938 Lincoln wheat cent from the Denver mint mark is a coin with a bit more collector appeal than many later wheat pennies, because its mintage was lower than average for the series. In that year, Denver produced just over 7 million cents, which is a tiny number compared to the hundreds of millions struck in Philadelphia during the 1940s and 1950s. That makes the 1938D a semi-key date in the Lincoln series, and collectors assembling complete sets often need to pay more attention to it. If you have a coin from 1938 with a small D mint mark just under the date, it is the Denver issue. You describe the condition as fine, which means there is clear wear on Lincoln's hair, beard, and jawline, and the wheat ears on the reverse are worn but still visible. A fine grade coin is considered a circulated collectible grade, not sharp enough to be scarce in high-end collections, but better than a heavily worn good grade. You also noted there are some scratches. Scratches can affect desirability, because graders and buyers prefer surfaces that are original and problem-free. Even so, many collectors accept minor circulation marks when they are filling a date and mint slot. In today's coin market, a 1938 D Lincoln cent in fine condition typically trades for about $1,000 retail. Dealers often price them around that range, and sometimes higher if the coin has especially nice color or strong detail. The scratches you mentioned might reduce that slightly, since they make the coin less attractive compared to a smooth surface example. Realistically, you could expect a dealer to pay closer to $1 to $2 if you tried to sell, and a collector might pay $3 or $4 if they like the look and need the date. As with most wheat cents, the biggest jump in value happens at higher grades. Uncirculated 1938 D cents with strong red color can be worth $100,000 or more, depending on the exact grade. Truly top-end examples certified as MS67 red have sold at auction for thousands of dollars. But those coins are very different from a circulated fine grade with scratches. Yours should be thought of as a solid collectible worth a few dollars, not a rare treasure. Because it is a semi-key date, it is still worth keeping. Even circulated pieces like yours are scarcer than most late 1940s and 1950s wheat pennies, which are often worth only a few dollars. That scarcity is why collectors are willing to pay a few dollars for 1938 D coins in any grade. One important piece of advice: do not attempt to clean the coin. Cleaning might make it look brighter temporarily, but it damages the surface and reduces value. Collectors prefer original patina, even if it is dark or uneven. The scratches you mentioned are already part of the coin's story, and cleaning would only add further problems. So, to put it simply, a 1938 D Lincoln wheat penny in fine condition with some scratches is usually worth around $2 to $4 in today's market. It is not a common junk box penny, and it has more value than the average wheat cent. While the scratches keep it from being top-tier collectible quality, it still has enough scarcity and historical significance that collectors will pay a modest premium. It's a neat coin from a lower mintage year, and it shows how condition and mint mark both play important roles in determining the value of wheat cents. Next up, the 1945 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, and it is one of the most common coins of the entire wheat cent series. Philadelphia produced more than 1 billion of these pennies that year, which was near the end of World War II. Because of that enormous mintage, most 1,945 pennies, even those in better grades, are easy to find and hold only modest value in today's coin market. When a coin does not have a mint mark below the date, it automatically means it was made in Philadelphia. In 1945, Denver and San Francisco also struck cents, and those have a D or S mint mark. But the Philadelphia issue is by far the most common of the three. Collectors enjoy them as part of a complete set, but because supply is so plentiful, prices stay low except in very high mint state grades. You described your coin as being in extremely fine condition. In coin grading terms, extremely fine, often abbreviated EF or XF, means the coin has light wear overall. On a 1945 cent, that translates to most of Lincoln's hair details still showing clearly, his cheek and jawline having only slight flattening, and the wheat stalks on the reverse being bold with only minor wear at the tips. An EF coin is definitely attractive and collectible. The fact that you note some scratches does matter, though, because scratches are considered damage. Collectors call them detracting marks, and while small ones are tolerated, they do keep the coin from being as desirable as a problem-free piece. In terms of value, a 1945 Philadelphia wheat cent in extremely fine condition generally sells for about 20 to 50 cents on the retail market. Some price guides list them at around 75 cents to $1, but those numbers usually reflect the highest-end EF coins with clean surfaces and no distracting marks. With scratches, the realistic selling price is more likely on the lower end of that range, closer to 25 or 30 cents if you were to offer it to a collector or dealer. Dealers who buy in bulk might only pay $10,000 to $80,000 because they already have stacks of these coins in similar grade. It's important to compare this to the average worn 1945 penny, which in good or very good condition is worth only a few cents. The extremely fine grade does put yours ahead of the pack, but the huge supply of 1945 p cents keeps the market price low. The real money in 1945 cents is in uncirculated examples. Coins with full original red color, graded MS66 or higher, can bring $50 or more, and at the very top levels, some MS67 red coins have sold for several $100s. Those are rare, pristine survivors that were never spent. Scratches are the main limiting factor for your coin. A collector building a high-quality set usually passes over scratched examples and spends a little more for one with smoother, original surfaces. For someone just filling the 1945 slot in a wheat cent album, your coin would still be acceptable, but the scratches reduce the price to the lower side of the scale. This is why it's always best to handle coins carefully and avoid cleaning them. Cleaning often adds hairline scratches and makes the surface look unnatural, which hurts value even more. So, what should you do with your 1945 Philadelphia wheat penny in extremely fine condition? If you enjoy collecting, it's a nice mid-grade example to keep in your set. It has clear detail. It shows what a wheat cent looked like in circulation near the end of World War II, and it's worth more than the face value of 1 cent, even if not by much. If you wanted to sell, expect somewhere between 20 and 50 cents depending on the buyer, with scratches pushing the price down. It is not rare, but it is a step above the most common worn pieces that only fetch a few pennies each. In simple terms, your coin is a nice collectible from a very common year. Its value today is modest, but it is a tangible piece of history. The 1945 wheat penny, without a mint mark, tells the story of the wartime era when millions of soldiers were returning home. The economy was shifting back to peace, and these bronze coins were passing through the hands of ordinary Americans every day. Even with scratches, it is still a coin worth keeping as a part of that larger story.